A warm greeting to you. Today is Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. This is meteorologist Ruben Garcia. At the time of recording this video, it is 5 p.m. local time in Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana, where coastal areas continue to closely monitor the evolution of what is now Tropical Storm Bertha. During the overnight hours yesterday, Tropical Depression 2 strengthened into the second named storm of the season, Tropical Storm Bertha. Currently, the center of circulation is located south of the Alabama coast. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, and as we can see in the visible satellite animation, the system continues to be affected by northeasterly wind shear, which is keeping the cloud cover, tropical storm force winds, and the heaviest rainfall south of the center of circulation. Fortunately, these conditions have prevented it from strengthening significantly. Despite these conditions, a Hurricane Hunter aircraft this afternoon found that the system had strengthened somewhat, and it currently has maximum sustained winds of 60 miles per hour, which for now remain over the Gulf waters. Even so, some tropical storm force wind gusts are affecting coastal areas of the Florida Panhandle, Alabama, Mississippi, and soon southeastern Louisiana. In fact, a tropical storm warning is in effect for this area. So, in this video I will talk a little about the model projections, especially the uncertainty that continues in the forecast. We still do not know exactly whether the center of circulation will move over land in Louisiana, or whether it will relocate farther south and manage to remain over the Gulf waters, which could allow it to reach parts of Texas as a tropical depression or a weak tropical storm. At least the good news is that the wind shear will continue affecting the system over the next few days as it moves over or very near the Louisiana coast. In fact, there is a scenario in which, if the center moves inland over the state of Louisiana, it could dissipate before reaching Texas. So once again, as I mentioned yesterday, it appears that Tropical Storm Bertha will not cause major problems. However, it is always important to continue monitoring its progress in case any unexpected changes occur, particularly because the northerly wind shear will continue favoring thunderstorm development south of the circulation, and at times these processes can cause the center to relocate farther south. If that happens, it could help the cyclone remain over the Gulf waters and survive the wind shear. At least according to the latest track projections from the specialized models, they all agree on a westward movement over the next 48 hours. By Wednesday afternoon, the center should move over southeastern Louisiana and then continue moving rapidly toward the Texas coast, where it should arrive during the afternoon or evening on Thursday. Now then, thanks to the wind shear and the possible interaction with land, the intensity models keep the system relatively weak over the next 24 hours, and then, once it crosses or passes very close to Louisiana, it would begin to weaken significantly. However, as I mentioned, this will depend on whether the center moves over Louisiana, but if it relocates farther south, it is possible that it could reach Texas as a weak to moderate tropical storm. And in some highly unlikely scenarios, a few models even project that it could intensify into a hurricane. However, once again, I repeat that this scenario is extremely unlikely, and the most likely outcome is that the center will move into Louisiana and dissipate in approximately 48 hours as it approaches the Texas coast. This is consistent with the forecast from the National Hurricane Center. It keeps the system as a tropical storm through Thursday afternoon, with the center reaching southeastern Louisiana around 1 p.m. on Wednesday and continuing that movement until eventually, Thursday night, moving inland very near the Galveston and Houston area. In addition, the National Hurricane Center forecasts that it will remain a weak to moderate tropical storm. In this image, you can also see in blue the counties under a tropical storm warning and in yellow the counties under a tropical storm watch. Let's take a look at what the latest model runs are showing. Let's begin with the American model. It projects that the center could reach southeastern Louisiana during Wednesday afternoon. And notice that when the center is over southeastern Louisiana, this run projects that it could relocate farther south. Even so, it keeps the system quite weak before eventually dissipating over western Louisiana or eastern Texas. We also have the European model projection. Notice that it projects the system will continue to be affected by wind shear, with the area of rainfall and the strongest winds located south of the circulation. Like the American model, this model projects that the center would move into southeastern Louisiana Wednesday afternoon and then remain very weak, dissipating as it reaches eastern Texas and western Louisiana. Meanwhile, the German model also keeps the system weak, but it relocates the center back over the Gulf waters and brings it to the Texas coast as a weak tropical storm. So, overall, the global models agree with that projection, very similar to the National Hurricane Center forecast. We also have good agreement among the model ensemble members. For example, the American model. Nearly all of the members bring the system into Louisiana and therefore dissipate it within about 36 to 48 hours, and only 3 members keep a track farther south that could maintain the system as a stronger tropical storm until it reaches Texas. Meanwhile, among the European model ensemble members, The vast majority have that track over Louisiana and dissipate the system, with only about 5 to 10% of them showing a farther south track that, if it were to occur, could leave the system somewhat stronger as it approaches Texas. We see the same thing in the Google Artificial Intelligence Model Ensemble. Those that keep a farther south track bring it to Texas as a tropical storm, while those that keep a farther north track over southeastern Louisiana dissipate it within 36 to 48 hours. In terms of the expected impacts across the region, regarding wind gusts, notice that the models project some tropical storm force winds affecting coastal areas of the Florida Panhandle, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, with wind gusts between 35 and 45 miles per hour. This means that the wind should not cause major problems. Also, and fortunately, the heaviest rainfall will remain over the Gulf waters. This is because the wind shear will continue keeping the rainfall activity south of the circulation. Even so, as I mentioned, I will continue monitoring the progress of this cyclone and will keep you informed of any unexpected changes. If everything generally remains as forecast, I will record the next video during the afternoon hours tomorrow, Wednesday. Before I go, if you enjoy this content, I invite you to like this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you receive notifications whenever I record new videos. I hope you all have an excellent evening. See you tomorrow.